In this video, I'm going to teach you how to calculate the area of a certain value of raster pixels in Google Earth Engine using the reduceRegion function. This method is helpful if you have a classification with different land covers and you want to calculate the area of one or all of those land covers. I'm going to use an existing classification data set called the NLCD. I'll use the 2021 version, which just has the land cover in the United States for 2021. I'll name that NLCD. And what I want to do today is I want to calculate the area of Pyramid Lake, or the water pixels that are within my geometry that I specified here. So I'm first going to create a variable to filter my NLCD dataset. I'll call that variable NLCD water. Referencing that NLCD entire data set, I'm going to get the median of it to turn it into an image. And then I'm going to select the land cover band. The NLCD has a couple of bands, but the ones that I want is called land cover. There's also an impervious surface band, which might be helpful for people who are more interested in urban land cover. And then we can scroll down and see what the different land cover classification values are. So in this case, I'm interested in open water, and that has a value of 11. So after I have selected the land cover band, I can specifically call out those water pixels by using this equal function, and then I'll put 11. So what that will do is that will turn all of the pixels that have a value of 11 that represent water, it'll turn all of them into ones, and it'll turn all of the other pixels into zeros. So we'll get a raster after this that has just ones and zeros, and we can add this to the map to see it specifically. I'm going to clip it again to my geometry, and let's see what that looks like. So all the white pixels here are equal to 1, and that means that there's water there. And all the black pixels are equal to 0, so that means there is not water there. So in order to calculate the area of all of those water pixels, I'm going to use a method where I sum all of those water pixels. But before I do that, I'm going to multiply all of those pixels by pixel area. Because if we just sum up all of the pixels right now, we'll get a count of the total number of pixels that have water. But if we want to understand the area of water within our geometry, it's really helpful to first multiply each of those pixels by the pixel area so that when we sum them all up, that area will be accurate and true. So the method that we're going to use is we're going to multiply pixels by pixel area and then sum them. In order for this method to work, the pixels of interest must equal 1, and the pixels that we are not interested in must either be masked out or equal 0. Great, so now I'm going to create my variable where I calculate the area of this lake. This lake is called Pyramid Lake, and then I'll put area. And I'm going to take that NLCD water variable that I created. And then I'm going to multiply this image by the pixel area. And I do that by using multiply and then this function called ee.Image.pixelArea. After I do this, all of those ones will now equal the pixel area, and then all of the zeros will still equal 0. So then we can sum them up to get the area. I'll use this function called reduceRegion, and within this function, we need a few arguments. The first is the reducer that we want to use. Again, in this case, we want to use the sum reducer because we're going to sum up all of those pixels. Other important things to add here are the geometry that we are doing this calculation within, and then the scale. So in this case, we're using the NLCD. We can look in here to make sure that we know what the scale is. And it says the resolution is 30 meters. So I will put 30 in here. So I'm going to now print this to the console, Pyramid Lake area, and see what happens. So what's printed in the console is an object. And when I look inside of it, it gives me the land cover and a number. In order to just print the number to the console, we can go back to our Pyramid Lake area variable and just get that land cover item. So now when we print it, it'll just print the number. This number is in meters squared. So if we want to print the number in kilometers squared, we need to do a few things to it. We need to first tell Google Earth Engine that this Pyramid Lake area is a number. And then we can divide it by 1 million, which will turn the meter squared number into kilometers squared. We can add that to our print function if we want. Okay, so now it says that the kilometers squared of Pyramid Lake is 464. If we want, we can check that with figures online of what the area of Pyramid Lake is. Let me do that really quick. Google says that Pyramid Lake's area is 487 kilometers squared. So that is pretty close to the number that we got. There are various reasons why our number might be a little bit lower. Maybe the water levels were a little bit lower in 2021 than they were in this other average online. But there you go. That is how you calculate the area of certain raster values.